Hi there and welcome to the Gazette's Hockey Inside Out show. I'm Stu Cowan of the Gazette, and I'm joined this week by my regular partners, former Canadiens teammates and 1986 Stanley Cup champs, Rick Green and Chris Nilan. Well, guys, after Tuesday night's impressive 6-3 win over the Ottawa Senators, the Canadiens aren't just in the mix for a playoff spot. They hold the second wildcard spot 1 point ahead of the New York Rangers. They're 8-1-2, the Canadiens, since the Four Nations face-off break in the schedule. Knuckles, how do you explain this amazing turnaround after they went 1-7-1 in the last 9 games before the break?
Well, yeah, geez, maybe the break, they stepped away for a little bit, helped. I think certainly the coaching staff, Marty St. Louis, and trying to get his message across to these players. He always talked about the process, paying attention to that process, and I think they have. They made some adjustments defensively, man on man. There's times I don't like that system, like when defensemen are up by the blue line chasing a forward, but it's been effective for them. And certainly they've come together. You look at the top line, what they've done, Slafkovsky bouncing back after, the early going. Yeah, he did this last year. So there's a lot of factors. The penalty kill, Jake Evans and Mia, that's huge. Montalbo has played well. And the best when he got in there has played well. So, yeah, I think this team, we say it's a 5-year plan. What's that, 5-year to win the cup? No. 5-year to maybe get in the playoffs. So at year 3, they said they want to be in the mix, play meaningful games. It didn't look like it was going to happen, but it has, and they're there right now. And, you got to give them props. They've really stuck together, played together. They look like a team now.
What have you liked, Rick?
They're playing hard. They're playing desperate. They're playing disciplined. I mean, I love to see their third man high that's allowing the defenseman to stay way up into the neutral zone, taking away a lot of speed and trying to intercept plays, before the red line. And look at, they're getting guys that are scoring goals that, weren't doing that earlier on the year. I mean, Anderson's playing great. Dvorak has come to life. I mean, wow, what a turnaround in this guy. And, that's what you need down the stretch. And you get a lot of opportunity to see how guys respond in these pressure situations, because it is very demanding, a lot of pressure going on the guys, game of mistakes. But these guys are buying in, and they are showing a lot of confidence in their team game. Everybody's towing the line, and everybody is really wanting this bad. And it's as Nux knows, when you get that sense and that feeling in that dressing room, it's tough to slow it down, and everybody's on board. No passengers, and it's obvious in their overall play, and the results are happening because of it.
Yeah, Marty St. Louis was saying, Knuckles, they've really improved from top of the face-off circle to top of the face-off circle. Basically, the neutral zone, limiting giveaways, limiting high-risk plays. Basically, pucks go in the offensive zone and pucks come out of the defensive zone. Have you seen them maybe simplify things a little bit? Is that part of what's been happening here?
Yeah, listen, there's good puck movement a lot of times, and certainly watching them last night. Their defensemen are moving the puck quick. The thing is, and one thing I noticed last night, and Newhook did it pretty well, he made himself available coming through the middle a lot and coming back to the puck. When you get, with no red line, you get the wingers that go up, they take off. A lot of times that center iceman is in a position to get the puck, but he's way too high, and sometimes somebody's in the middle. When you start seeing that centerman coming back to the puck, and wanting that puck and being available, and then the D-men moving it quick, you're gonna be effective. And then if he doesn't get it and they end up chipping in, and he's got that speed coming up the ice to make things happen. It worked for them quite a few times last night. They seem just like they're coming together and gelling at the right time. It's awesome to watch.
And speaking of centerman, Nick Suzuki met with Kent Hughes during the break and asked the GM, please don't break up this team. And, Hughes told him, well, then you got to put this team on your shoulders and start winning some games. Otherwise, there's going to be trades. Suzuki's got 6, 12, 18 totals in the last 11 games. The Canadiens are 8-1-2. Just Rick, watching him, what's impressed you about Nick Suzuki?
I mean, amazing player. Just his ability to pass the puck, his intelligence, his strength, one-on-one. I mean, he not a big guy, but he's tough to move, and he's a great player for this team, and he's leading by example. I mean, these type of performances he's getting and racking up these kind of points is not an accident. He is a really good, smart guy that can make a lot of things happen. And I have to also mention as a group that this hockey club, as much as we worried about their competitiveness, are playing physical. They're getting involved. They're hitting. I mean, they out hit, if you want, Ottawa last night, 27, I think, to 13 or something. So they're able to play that kind of game, and they're coming to realize that it's got to be part of their game plan each and every night because it's working for them. And you got to give them credit for putting that out there each night. And the results have shown previously they've beaten some of the best teams in the league when they have their A game. You've got a lot of guys that are having their A game right now.
Being around this team on a daily basis, Knuckles, it's been obvious for quite a while. This is a really tight-knit team. Even when they were going through bad stretches, they're really closer. They're sort of like a brotherhood. And Suzuki was telling me the other day that the team morale was always good, but it was even better after the trade deadline when they didn't trade the Dvorak, when they didn't trade David Savard, when they didn't trade Armia. Do they have enough to get through this stretch run now, Knuckles? And how much does that team morale really count?
Oh, it's huge, and it's always huge. When you get a close-knit team and, we always hear it, we go on that road trip, that Western swing, and it brought us together. And, guys get to spend time with each other. Where, who knows what happens at home here, married guys, kids, all that stuff. But, I look at a guy like Newhook, right? And when you talk about players, they lose Kirby Dach. He had been okay this year, but nothing spectacular. He seems like he got that jump in his game. This is kind of invigorated him, if you will. He's at center ice, and maybe this is the guy that, they've been wanting to see. He had some great opportunities last night. You want him to bury him, but, he played good all-around game, a lot of speed. So, I look at this team and where they are, and management again, like you said, Ken Hughes and talking to Suzuki, and that all goes into it. God, I love being on teams, and most of my teams, and I was on, especially the Habs back in '80s. So what a group of guys we had, and how close we were, and it makes a big difference.
Well, Josh Anderson, I mean, his struggles last season, Marty St. Louis stuck with him right through the year, gave him added responsibility at the start of this season, putting him on the PK. He's really responded and played really well, Rick. I mean, 2 goals against the Senators. Named the first star at center ice with Mark Denis. I mean, that ovation he got there was pretty special. You could see him tapping his chest and thanking the fans, and just what an amazing turnaround by this guy this season.
So happy for him. I mean, you look back at his struggles that he had, and it was reached a point where the fans were booing him. The poor guy didn't know what to do, and he was able to weather that storm and get to understand the type of game that he needs to play. And he has been really, really good, really effective on the forecheck, using his size, skates great, and now he's being rewarded with some goals, and it couldn't be a better situation for him to be performing the way he is right now, because he's deserving. He was able to get his act going, and the results are showing. And he's a huge part of this hockey club, and he spoke and has spoken so highly of the group that they have in that dressing room. They have a group that's tight and care for each other, and they're going to do whatever they have to do to find a way to get in the playoffs and have some success. And that's a good situation to have.
Yeah, what makes him so impressive too is he's so banged up. He hasn't been able to practice, and he was saying it's sort of tough watching his teammates go through 30-minute, 40-minute hard practices an hour, and he's sort of on the sidelines watching them. Knuckles, there's a saying: Montreal's the best place to play when things are going well, and the worst place to play when things aren't. Can you relate to that a little bit, and sort of what you can imagine what it must have felt like for Josh Anderson at center ice after that game last night?
Oh yeah, I just saw I saw him just stand there, look around, and think, a lot of these people that are there have not seen this team win a Stanley Cup, right? And they know the history, they know the tradition, but to see him standing there and hear that crowd and how they were showing their appreciation for not only him, but the organization, the team. It's a great feeling. You could see he was just beaming, right? And just go back to the beginning of the year, November. He wasn't beaming. No one was beaming. The previous couple of years, things have been really tough. For veteran players to be part of a rebuild, like it or not, you got to carry the torch. You can't, be hanging that lip. You have to be positive. And I'm sure he's had his tough times. Same with Armia. Guy's been around a little bit. Savad. Yeah, they want to be part of it. But, God, when you're losing, it wears on you. I know we've had a couple, little goes with losing streaks here back in our day. And, we got booed. And we had some awesome teams. And we got booed when, it was 3 games in a row. We heard it. I can't imagine how the fan base back then would have reacted if we started November like they did this year. We would have got run out of town.
Well, I remember Nuxie, when we had a 2-game losing streak, which was devastation to all the fan base, and we go into the forum the next morning, and none of the security guys would even say good morning or hi, how are you? So we knew we were really in trouble when you couldn't get any of those guys to say hi to you because
everybody's what's wrong? What's going on? What's going on? Yeah. Unbelievable.
Well, it's interesting because Brendan Gallagher is the only member of the Canadiens to have played a playoff game at the Bell Center with a full crowd. Because in 2021, obviously with COVID, the arena was basically empty. It's funny to think about that, but Gallagher's been telling these other guys what it's going to be like if they get into the playoffs, and they're starting to get a test of it. But that line, Rick, of Anderson, Gallagher, and Dvorak combined 4 goals, 9 points against the Senators. That's a playoff line, right? That's the type of line you need for the playoffs.
Hey, look at those guys are making it happen. I mean, I mentioned Dvorak earlier. I mean, this guy from the faceoffs to his skating and what he's bringing is the best that we haven't seen, until lately. And I remember again back in the day. Perfect timing to have success is when everybody is hitting on all cylinders at this time of year, and you just never know where it's going to go. But these are the kind of guys that you need to be getting contributions from. They're finding a way to do it, just like the other guys now are chipping in here and there, which is a sign of a good team, a team with some depth, and the results are happening, which is perfect timing for that.
Anderson and Gallagher, Knuckles, they seem like the kind of guys you'd like to have as line mates back in your day.
Oh, yeah. I'd love to play with guys like that. Are you kidding me? Guys who go out there, night in, night out, you're battling shifts, you're going to the net, you're going into the corner for the puck first, not waiting for the defenseman to go. You're going to get it and taking the hit to make a play, all those things. And then busting your hump back to try and help. Give that back pressure to try and pick off pucks and go the other way. So, yeah, those are just awesome guys. The coach said it best. There's guys that play hockey and there's hockey players. They're hockey players.
Well, Gallagher battling for that empty net goal last night. There was no way he was going to be denied. Switching to the defense a bit here, Rick. I wrote a column saying a turning point for the Canadiens was when Kent Hughes acquired Alexandre Carrier from Nashville for Justin Barron. The Canadiens had a 12-16-3 record at the time. They're now 21-11-4 with Carrier in the lineup. He's not the only reason, but I think he's a big reason. And especially since the Four Nations break, Marty St. Louis has paired him with Mike Matheson as their number 1 defense pairing. What makes them so effective, Rick? What do you like about these two guys together?
His smarts, his ability to play within his limitations, his consistency in his overall game, not making too many mistakes, trying to get himself always in a position where the opposition has to go through him to get to the net, keeping it really simple. And he's mobile. He passes the puck well. He's aware. And when you take a guy like Gouli out of the lineup, and you can fill a little bit of the void with a guy like that coming in and make a real positive contribution to that group on the blue line. Good move, and it's a bonus to have him, and really he's happy, he enjoys it, and he's doing a hell of a job.
Carey, he's only 5'11", 174 pounds. Knuckles, he plays much bigger than that. Like he plays mean, right? He uses his stick well to defensively. He also uses it pretty well to cross-check guys. Lane Hudson was saying he's learning from Carrier, watching him defensively as another small guy. What do you like about him? Just the philosophy he brings to
the physicality. He's all-around game. He's a good puck mover. He get puck to the net. He makes good decisions with the puck. Those are all key things. And he's not a pushover out there. He's not going to get run out of the building and say, I'm going to pack my bags now. It's a little too rough for me. No, he gets involved, and he's a great compliment alongside Matheson. And, being on that right side, that's awesome for the other guy.
Yeah, you got to wonder, though, Knuckles, what Nashville was thinking. I mean, 1-for-1 Baron for this guy. It seems like a bad trade for Nashville.
Yeah, I think there's lots of deals like that everybody goes, "Oops, I shouldn't have." But you know what? Too bad. Bonus for our group, and he's a great guy to have around.
Well, Montembeault has been great since the Four Nations break. The game against Ottawa, he let in a couple of bad goals. He was the third one. He said to me after the game, he said, I basically crapped the bed. He used another word besides that. And he was really down on himself about that goal. But the way the team came back, I think says a lot about the team spirit and the way they pick each other up. Rick, did they ride Montembeault the rest of the season? There's 15 games left. I don't know. How many games do you play him? Do you get Dobish in there also?
I mean, I think the writing's on the wall. They have to win. They have to keep winning. They have to go with their what they think is their go-to guy. And, Montembeault with a 1.96 since the Four Nations goals against, aside from giving up kind of a weak goal or two the other night, he's doing the job. They have confidence in him. They have two back-to-back, series coming up before the end of the season. And maybe that's a time to give him a little bit of a break, but it's all relative, I think, to where they're at positionally to see if they are in or they're out. It might come down to the last game of the season. Hopefully not, but you got to ride your hot hand and just go with it. Go with your gut, and he's obviously since the Four Nations has responded pretty well, and the guys are really confident with him, and compliments to him getting the job done, and hopefully it'll continue.
Yeah, Knuckles, we've spoken a lot about Patrik Laine since he joined the Canadiens, and red flags with him coming here and whatnot. Marty St. Louis has said, he's trying to get him to play that 200-foot game, that low-risk game, limiting some of those sort of blind backhand passes he likes to make through the neutral zone. He has looked much more involved physically the last couple of games. What have you noticed from him?
Listen, he has. I saw he had a nice hit on the wall last night. He looked like he was more engaged, being more assertive with the puck. And, listen, as much as we can be critical of guys, when you see them doing well, you got to give them the props too, and he has. I think this coach, I know early in the year, and I said it a couple times, and I've heard other people say it, that we'd like to see Marty maybe snap once in a while, right? He has a different way of getting to guys, and I think he's got his point across to Patrik Laine. Now, he has been better of late. It's, that consistency. We know he can shoot the puck. It's the other stuff, how often you have the puck in the game, like we talked about before. When you don't have it, You have to be engaged. You have to be willing to take hits to make plays. You're not asking them to go around and run around and run guys over all the time, but you have to get your body in the way. When you're a big man like that, you better get involved physically at times. You know, he's not asking them to run around. Cam Neely's perfect example. Big man like that, he'd go out there and get involved physically at night, and here's a goal scorer for you, you know? He has been playing better, and I just hope it continues for him and for this team.
I don't know how much players listen to what the coaches say to the media or read what coaches say to the media, but, you know, Marty said, you know, Armia wants more ice time. Laine wants more ice time. He's got to earn it. Like, he's got to get to a point where I can trust him putting him on the ice in a tie game or you know, with protecting a 1-goal lead. Rick, back when you guys were playing, did you guys pay attention much to what was being written in the media or said by the coaches to the media?
I think it's tough to completely avoid it. You know, you have to be, you know, in tune with what the general feel is. It doesn't necessarily mean good or bad, other than I always used to think of it as motivation. And the last thing you wanted to hear about is negative information coming across the media. So you try and avoid that. But, you know, I look back at Laine's comments about, you know, now that in the Four Nations, you're going to have an opportunity to play more. And I was curious to see how that would sit with Martin St. Louis and how he's going to handle that, whether a relationship was going to, you know, deteriorate or whether it was going to be used as motivation. And Marty, I think, obviously addressed it to the point where, like you said, you're going to earn it. I don't care who you are. You either follow the game plan of everybody else on the team or you're not going to play. And now he's responded in a way that he is involved. You know, he's averaging over 15 minutes now. Going to get opportunity. You're going to have a guy like that because he's a bona fide sniper, and he can sometimes make the difference. But his overall game, I think, is much more involvement, much more committed. And again, everybody else is towing the line. You take one guy in that mix, it doesn't, and he stands out. And I don't think he wants to stand out in a negative way anymore, and he's buying in, which is a perfect scenario for the Canadiens right now.
I remember you telling me, Rick, the story once about Red Fisher telling you had to pick up your game.
Yeah, he was fair. I was playing like good crap, so he said, "Get it going, or you're going to hear about it tomorrow in the paper." So I decided I better get my act going and, you know, try and score.
So he got up over the red line.
Not too often, he said once in a while.
It was different back in the day with Red. Knuckles, I remember him saying that the Canadiens didn't need a Knuckles line, right?
Red, God bless him. Cranky old bastard he was. It's funny. The media stuff, you know, and you do read it. You see a guy, I don't read the paper. Come on. You go in the hopper to have a seat in the morning, and the newspaper's on the floor. The guy in there was reading it before you, so you pick it up. And you read it. So
with your cigarette,
and a coffee.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, that's it for this week's Hockey Inside Out show. We'll be back with a new show next week. You can also look for our 3 bonus episodes coming up over the next few days. The Canadiens are back in action Thursday night in New York against the Islanders in another huge game with wildcard playoff implications. They then face the Colorado Avalanche Saturday night at the Bell Center. In the meantime, please make sure you like and subscribe to the Hockey Inside Out YouTube channel. Go to MontrealGazette.com/newsletters to sign up for the Hockey Inside Out newsletter. And of course, go to HockeyInsideOut.com where you'll get all the latest Canadiens news every day. And also, if you please leave comments on the show in the comment section below. We always like to hear from you.